in Hickory Hill with connections to Memphis rapper Yo Gotti.
BEO Lil Kenny, known around Memphis for his ties to the streets, just got taken into custody, and reports are saying it's connected to the case of Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook. Behind all the flashy cars and hit tracks, the Memphis rap scene been hiding some serious tension. Kenny had been living wild, dropping tracks to seem to tell on himself, and now it looks like all that might have caught up with him. The truth about what led to his downfall is darker than anyone thought, and we're about to get into it. The whole city's talking, and the hip-hop scene is lit right now. But before we go deeper into this madness, let's clear the air and stick to the facts. Social media's been going crazy, showing BEO Lil Kenny getting pulled out the bushes by what people online claim were federal agents. But hold up, we gotta separate what's real from what's just talk. This wasn't some random run-in. Folks been whispering that Kenny might have been involved in something serious connected to Big Jook's case. And here's where it gets even more intense. In his songs, Kenny been dropping hints that sound way too close to real life. People been replaying his lyrics, thinking he gave away more than he should have.
We do have video that we're analyzing, but we don't have a clear suspect identified at this time. But we know that a weapon was used, a firearm was used in this incident. We do feel like the individual that was possibly targeted by the suspect.
The viral video shows him being pulled out from the bushes, looking stunned, while voices in the background shout things like, "They told him come back, he about to get bit." It's wild to see how fast everything's unfolded for him. People in the background were shouting, "Everybody praying, come back," while chaos unfolded. You could feel the tension in the air. Now in the streets, everyone knows that running from law enforcement is no small thing. But Kenny's case hit different because rumors had been flying for months that he was the one connected to Big Jook's tragic case. He might have been small in size, standing about 5'3" and barely 120 pounds, but he carried himself like he had the heart of a giant. According to booking reports, Kenneth Mason, known to the world as BEO Lil Kenny, got hit with several charges, including evading arrest, reckless driving, and possession-related offenses. But this story goes way deeper than just some traffic violations. The wildest part?
Everybody praying. Oh shit, everybody come, they can't do nothing to us. Shit, we chillin'. They can't do nothing to no nigga. Hell no.
Kenny looked completely relaxed while hiding out. Later, he even joked online saying, "I was comfortable in them bushes. They had to drag me out. We was gonna be there till timber waiting on me to surrender." That line had people talking non-stop. It's like he thought he could wait things out until the heat died down. But the authorities had other plans. And here's the crazy twist. Kenny had been dropping way too many hints in his music and online posts, basically giving away pieces of his own story. After the tragic loss of Big Jook, outside that restaurant, right in front of his own mother, the city was left heartbroken. But things got even wilder when Kenny dropped a track that had the whole Memphis scene buzzing. In his lyrics, he rapped, "In front of his mama, they downed his brother. We come to get you like bounty hunters." That line alone had people stunned. It sounded way too close to real-life events, and fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. The part that really had everyone talking was how specific Kenny got with the details.
5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
Big Jook had lost his life after attending a funeral, and Kenny's lyrics seemed to match up with that timeline, almost like he was narrating the scene. People online started saying he was basically giving law enforcement a full confession through his own music. That's what folks call self-snitching, when your own bars end up being used against you. It's a fast way to bring attention you don't want. And the fact that he dropped that track right after everything happened, that had people thinking he might have been celebrating something serious. He wasn't saying they, he was saying we, making it sound like his own crew was involved. But then Kenny hopped on Facebook to respond, posting, "I'ma let it be known, but I never thought I'd have to stop putting these BS allegations on the nigga. I'm a pretty good guy, but I don't want no clout for nothing. I don't have nothing to do with it." By the time the dust settled, the damage was already done. Now let's rewind and talk about how this whole situation first kicked off, because this wasn't just music industry drama. The tension between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph ran deep, built on years of street politics that stretch back more than a decade. It all traces back to 2010 during Thanksgiving weekend outside Level 2 nightclub, where Yo Gotti and OG Boo Dirty, who was connected to Young Dolph's circle, got into a serious altercation. Reports say several people were hurt during that incident, and from that point on, things were never the same. This wasn't online talk or social media sneak disses. This was real tension spilling into the streets. One shocking connection: a man named Corey McClendon was reportedly taken into custody alongside Yo Gotti back then. And years later, that same Corey McClendon would face charges tied to the attempted attack on Young Dolph in Hollywood in 2017. That shows you how deep this feud really ran. These weren't new faces. The same people had been circling each other for years, each side refusing to back down. But it didn't stop there. In 2012, Dolph was actually sitting next to Gucci Mane when Gucci publicly called out Yo Gotti, accusing him of trying to ride his wave by releasing a mixtape on the same day as Gucci's 1017 drop. Dolph witnessed that moment firsthand, and that connection ended up adding more fuel to the rivalry. Over the years, the situation only grew more dangerous. In 2017, Dolph's vehicle was struck by gunfire more than 100 times in Charlotte, and investigators reportedly linked that attack back to people connected with Yo Gotti's circle, including Corey McClendon. At this point, it wasn't just rap tension anymore. It had turned into an all-out street feud that went way beyond music. The situation surrounding Young Dolph's tragic passing and Big Jook's role in it had the whole city buzzing. But here's the twist. Reports suggest that what happened to Dolph in November 2021 wasn't a random incident. Rumors spread fast that Big Jook might have had a hand in setting things off behind the scenes. Big Jook, Yo Gotti's brother, wasn't just family. He was the man with his ear to the streets, known as the force behind the CMG camp, while Gotti focused on the business side. This wasn't just about diss tracks anymore. This was about power, influence, and respect in Memphis. And when Dolph kept calling out the CMG crew and putting pressure on their name, that tension reportedly pushed things past the point of no return.
For anyone who doesn't understand how these street codes work, when you put a price or threat out there, you're stepping into dangerous territory. If that person has loyal supporters, they're gonna want answers. Dolph had people who loved and respected him deeply, and they weren't about to stay quiet after what happened. Word in Memphis moved faster than any official report, and the streets were already pointing fingers before the authorities even confirmed anything. Once Dolph was gone, people started whispering that Big Jook's involvement might have made him a target himself. He was aware of the risks, but loyalty runs deep, especially when family and legacy are on the line. During court proceedings involving the suspects, it was revealed that Big Jook had been making calls and coordinating movements on the same day the incident involving Dolph occurred. Big Jook was seen by many as the one calling the shots, which made him the #1 target for payback. On January 13th, 2024, everything came full circle. He had just left Peon's Restaurant and Event Center on Winchester near Kirby when tragedy struck. Being in his own city, he probably felt safe, but that's exactly when things took a tragic turn. And here's what made it even more heartbreaking. The attack happened right in front of his own family. In street code, that's seen as one of the biggest violations possible. You never involve family, especially not parents. But when revenge enters the picture, the rules go out the window. The incident happened around 4:15 p.m. Broad daylight, no masks, no disguises. Whoever did it wanted the world to know this wasn't random. This was a clear message. The attackers wanted to show that not even Big Jook's status or reputation could protect him from the ripple effects of his own choices. Reports say 2 men were hit during the incident. Sadly, Big Jook didn't make it, and another man was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Memphis police later confirmed they had surveillance footage and believe Big Jook was directly targeted that day. This wasn't some mistaken identity or random act. It was organized, deliberate, and carefully carried out. The way it unfolded made it obvious. This was meant to send a warning to anyone still involved in that long-running feud. What made the situation even more shocking was the timing. Big Jook had just attended a repast, a celebration of life following a funeral, when everything went down. He stepped outside for what was supposed to be a quick break and never made it back inside. Tragically, his mother was still inside the venue when she heard the gunfire that claimed her son's life. The city couldn't believe it. The moment felt unreal. But what really had everyone talking was how people in the streets seemed to know about Big Jook's alleged connection to young Dolph's case before anything official came out. Word was already spreading that he played a part in putting things in motion, and that made him a major target. In neighborhoods like Memphis, word travels faster than any investigation. Everyone seems to know something before the authorities do. The same circles that had once helped organize moves against Dolph were now said to be the ones exposing Big Jook's part in it. Street justice doesn't wait for trials or press conferences. It moves on its own timeline. Reports claim BEO Lil Kenny and his crew had been waiting for the perfect moment to get even. They allegedly saw Big Jook as the one really holding power behind Yo Gotti's empire, so taking him out would send the strongest possible message. What's even crazier is how Kenny's own lyrics seemed to back up what people were already whispering. When he rapped about coming to get someone like bounty hunters and mentioned doing it in front of his mama, fans started connecting the dots, thinking he might have been talking about Big Jook's situation. If Big Jook was still alive today, there's a good chance he'd be facing serious time in federal custody over young Dolph's case. During the trial involving the suspects, reports indicated that Big Jook had previously been questioned by investigators regarding the situation. The man was living on borrowed time, and the evidence against him was starting to pile up. Authorities allegedly had phone records showing Big Jook was in contact with people tied to the incident on the same day Dolph lost his life. If he hadn't been taken out, prosecutors probably would have built a strong enough case to put him away for decades. That's the wild truth about street life. Sometimes fate catches up in ways nobody expects. Some even say Big Jook's passing might have spared him from spending the rest of his days behind bars. It's tragic either way. Whether through violence or the system, the ending looked the same. Now let's switch gears and talk about BEO Lil Kenny and where things stand for him. He was arrested recently on what looked like smaller charges, things like evading arrest, reckless driving, and possession. His bond was only $10,000, and word is he's already out. But here's the catch. That might have just been the first move. Kenny reportedly spent extra hours being questioned, mostly because of all the rumors flying around online. And he's not wrong when he said, the internet is a dangerous drug. His own music videos, social media posts, and even lyrics gave investigators plenty to look into. The authorities love to start small and build their case step by step. They'll hit you with minor charges first while they quietly stack up bigger evidence behind the scenes. It's a classic setup, and Kenny might be right in the middle of it. Now here's where things get real interesting. Since BEO Lil Kenny's arrest, fans and insiders have been speculating that this might just be the calm before the storm. Word around Memphis is that the authorities aren't done. They're still connecting dots, and Kenny's name keeps popping up in conversations about retaliation, loyalty, and payback. Everyone's watching to see if this man becomes the centerpiece in a much bigger case that's been quietly building behind the scenes. See, Memphis has always had this deep connection between music and the streets, and sometimes those two worlds collide in ways nobody can control. For years, rappers in the city have been repping their neighborhoods and telling their stories through lyrics, but now it feels like those same lyrics are being used as evidence. People are realizing that every post, every track, every flex on social media can come back around. And Kenny's situation is proving that in real time.
What's wild is how the hip-hop scene in Memphis is still booming despite all this chaos. New artists are dropping every week, inspired by legends like Dolph, Gotti, and even Kenny. But the tension behind the scenes hasn't gone anywhere. Everyone's moving careful now because the wrong word, the wrong move, or even the wrong collaboration could spark another headline. And let's be real. With the feds involved, you know this story isn't done yet.
The more they dig, the more names might surface, and the deeper this web goes. One thing's for sure, the streets are talking, the labels are watching, and the city of Memphis is standing at a crossroads. Will peace finally settle in, or is this just another calm moment before the next storm hits? Kenny's own lyrics and online posts gave investigators plenty to work with, enough to reportedly connect him to what happened with Big Jook. In the end, Lil Kenny's story isn't just about revenge or payback. It's about what happens when the streets and music collide in a way that turns very serious. This whole situation shows how living by that code where violence solves everything only leads to heartbreak and destruction. Young Dolph lost his life, and that set off a chain reaction that took out Big Jook, and now Kenny's the one facing the fallout. It's a never-ending cycle that's left Memphis hurting with too many families torn apart. Yo Gotti lost his brother, Dolph's family lost a legend, and now Kenny's people might lose him to the system if these charges stick. It's a tragic domino effect. One move triggers another, and the cycle just keeps spinning. The biggest question now is, when does it stop? How many more have to fall before people realize this lifestyle doesn't lead to glory? It leads to pain, loss, or a sale. Kenny might feel like he's still one step ahead, but both the streets and the authorities are keeping a close eye on him. So what do you think? Will Lil Kenny beat the case and turn his life around? Or is this just the beginning of something even bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you're following this wild Memphis saga. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates from the city's ever-unfolding rap scene.